If I used one word to describe my Uncle David, it would be generous.
That word would be honorable.
Selfless.
David is a kind and caring person.
David has been the best older brother, uncle that I could have ever had.
Hardworking.
David Man is the best brother ever.
Fun, funny, and always happy.
Understanding.
David Man is the best brother that anyone could ever have, and I'm glad he's mine.
My father, David Mann, was born to Ben and Lily Mann in Pendleton County, Kentucky, September 26, 1941. Ben and Lily had 11 children, 9 girls and 2 boys. Unfortunately, their youngest son was stillborn. The Mann family lived in extreme poverty.
Well, back in that day, everybody grew up about the same way, and really I didn't have any problem with it because I didn't know.
Dad's father, Ben, struggled with alcoholism and the inability to keep a job, many times causing them to have to move every time the rent came due. These homes often had no electricity or running water. In winter months, they would stack hay around the house in order to insulate it from the harsh wind. But many times, the next morning, the water in the bucket that they had drawn from the well the night before was frozen. It was extremely difficult to live in these situations, but Dad's mother always had a fire going in the morning before the children got up. He learned the importance of hard work at a young age.
When I started on the farm, I was about 9 years old. I used to work on the farm for a quarter a day.
The want for your child to do better in life came from his mother. She attended school, and in the census it showed that she went to 12th grade. She made sure all of her children went to school and did the best they could. In the 1964 Digest of Educational Statistics Bulletin, it says that 65% of 17-year-olds actually graduated from high school. My dad was part of the 65% when he graduated in 1959 from Morgan High School, and he was so proud to be a graduate. Dad was drafted into the Army in 1963, where he became a clerk typist. He'd send his entire paycheck home each month to support his family.
I would earn the other units uniforms so that they was ready for their whatever they had to do, and I polished shoes. I did everything and charged so much for each thing I did, and that's what I made my money to live on when I was in there. Well, I was only in the Army for a year. I went in December of '63 and got out December of '64 on a hardship discharge.
Dad married the love of his life, Betty Harden, in 1966. They would go on to have 2 children, a son Tony, and a daughter named Julie. Dad never shied away from work. He held a variety of jobs, but was looking for a career. He found that career with the Kentucky State Police.
A police officer was something I wanted to be from the time I was 5 years old, I guess.
In 1970, the requirements for the Kentucky State Police were extremely rigid. Physical tests for the state police were strenuous. He would often talk about how much more difficult police training was than his Army training. He even joked that he thought they were trying to kill him at one point, but if you survived, you became a state police officer.
I made 8 trips to Frankfurt before I finally got on with everything, the agility test and everything.
The handbook even lists a minimum height and weight requirement for the officers. My father did not pass the minimum height requirement of 5'9", but that didn't stop him in his pursuit of the career. During his time on the Kentucky State Police, he worked as a patrolman and was called out at all hours of the night and day. He handled wrecks, homicides, thefts, domestic disturbances, along with many other situations. Upholding the law was important in his job as a patrolman, but his strength as a police officer was helping people. During his job, he treated every person with dignity and respect. Because of that, people respected him and trusted him in our community. Other than his work as a patrolman, he was called upon for many unique situations. He worked security during Eastern Kentucky coal mine strikes. He rode the school buses during the 1970s school bus riots. He was honored to escort and guard famous Kentucky individuals, including multiple governors, the University of Kentucky basketball coach Joby Hall, and Colonel Sanders during his funeral. After 20 years of serving his community, Dad retired from the Kentucky State Police. After retiring, Dad continued working part-time jobs until becoming the Harrison County Transportation Director. During his 15-year career as Transportation Director, he became a nationally certified bus driver trainer and made huge improvements to the Harrison County bus garage. He even trained drivers from other counties, and before his retirement, he became the Transportation Director of the Year for the state of Kentucky. After retiring from the bus garage in his early 60s, he took his final job as a security guard and court bailiff at the Harrison County Justice Center. Dad's career in public service meant a lot, but raising strong children with a good work ethic meant more. We were always involved in community activities and got our first jobs as teenagers. Dad and Mom gave us the example to live by. Both Tony and I became educators, continuing his legacy of public service. Mom and Dad's house was the best place for grandchildren. My son and his cousins spent valuable time with their grandparents. We wanted them to get the same love and influence that we got from Mom and Dad. Over those visits, many adventures with Papa and Nana took place. They worked in the yard and the garden, and they camped out in the backyard with Dad and made memories that will last a lifetime. Dad's influence on his grandchildren have made the same positive impacts that he had on his own children. They felt the unconditional love and support needed to achieve the goals, and for that, we are eternally grateful. Mom and Dad never missed any event for their children or grandchildren. Every cold, rainy, or hot sporting event, marching band competitions, or award ceremonies, they were there. Even as my brother and I grew into adults, my parents continued to come to football games that my brother coached and band concerts that I conducted. And now we come to the present. Dad misses having a full-time job, but he keeps busy working in his garden and in the yard. Dad still volunteers to do whatever he can for anyone who needs help, feeling that need to serve his community. Dad is still a mentor for many police officers, people in the community, and especially his family. Our lives are enriched, and we are better people for having known and been loved by my dad, David Mann.